college kept me broke for a while. Even though I didn't take out a lot of student debt, I still managed to stay broke while I was in college and even after I graduated college. Now, this video is for you if you're someone who's thinking of going to college, or if you're just someone who graduated from college and now you're thinking, how can you escape the mindset that college teaches you for you to be able to actually become wealthy or make the money you want to make, if that's something that you want to do. Now, backtrack a few years ago, I attended university and I majored in civil engineering. The reason I did that is because I did not know or did not like anything universities have to offer, but I was pretty good in math, pretty good in physics, so might as well just major in something that teaches math and physics and that makes a lot of money, engineering. But I did graduate after 4 years and my GPA was pretty good, but I was broke. Now, even though I cannot blame college or university for me being broke, because this is 100% on me. In fact, I was playing video games most of the time when I was in college. But here are the pros and cons I experienced when I went to college, and maybe this can help you decide whether you want to pursue a degree or not. Now, am I saying traditional education and getting a 4-year degree is good or bad? Not necessarily, it really depends case by case, but I'm gonna give you some pros and cons so maybe you can come up with a decision for yourself. Let's start with the positives and with number one, and that is that attending university improved my people and social skills. Attending university, I wasn't the person who was sitting at the back of the class, having headphones in and with a hoodie on and not socializing with anyone. In fact, it's the opposite. I spoke to people, I met friends, I met people, so I did that. And definitely coming from a different country, not speaking English as a first language, it overall improved my social skills. I'm more comfortable approaching people, talking to them, meeting new people, which is arguably one of the most important skills anyone can ever learn. Number two is improving my language skills. As I said earlier, moving from Lebanon to here, even though we do speak English there, it's not the main language. So obviously I wasn't as good as I am today, even though I still have room for improvement. But university really helped me take my English to the next level. And not only that, all the countless essays that I have written for my classes also helped me improve as well. Even though back then I didn't actively try to improve, I just had to communicate somehow. And well, English was the language to communicate in. And overall, I didn't think of the essays as something positive that's gonna help me improve my English overall or just my speaking and language skills. It was something that I had to do. And as a byproduct of that, I improved. The third pro is that I learned early on that this was definitely not the path to wealth that I want to pursue. Even though I knew since day one that this path wasn't the one I wanted, back then I thought that this was my only option, and if I don't go to school, I fail and I'm a failure. So I started convincing myself that going to school, getting a degree was the path to success, and that's how wealth is made and that people make money. But I always had this doubt in my head until one day a professor came in and told us that getting an engineering degree, or most degrees for that matter, isn't really gonna make you wealthy. It's gonna make you live a comfortable life for the most part, but not a rich, wealthy life, which I personally strive for and you probably strive for as well. Number four is that I now have a plan B. So the whole point of me getting a degree was having it as a plan B in case I fail at becoming a full-time magician, which was my main goal at the time. But even though I do not agree with that mindset currently, it still is a plan B. If everything fails, I can always go back to working an engineering job. Now, the reason I do not agree with that mindset anymore is that in what world does it make sense for us to go to school for 4 years and spend all that time for us to have a safe job at the end of it, not to mention all the student debt people go through in order to attain that 4-year degree. Nowadays, I would say a safer option would be, instead of paying all that money for 4 years and spending all that time, work in something that can make you money, which then you can use as a safety net for you to pursue whatever you want to pursue. So think of it this way, what's more safe? Having a degree, being in debt, paying all that money, spending 4 years, or working for 4 years, saving aggressively and investing aggressively. At the end of these 4 years, you'll have money and experience saved up. At the end of these 4 years, you'll have no money, you'll probably be in the negative, and you'll have no experience whatsoever, but you do have a degree. Which option do you think makes more sense? To me, it's pretty clear. Number 5 is that I learned the importance of risk. Even though in the last few years, I learned that getting a 4-year degree isn't as safe as people think, it's definitely safer than starting your own business. But if you really think about it, safer bets more often than not will yield to you getting mediocre results, and bigger bets or riskier bets are going to yield to not guaranteed, but bigger returns. Taking bigger risks, even though results are definitely not guaranteed, they more often than not result in bigger results. Quick side note, I do have to mention that degrees 100% are not created equal. Getting a medical degree or a degree in law is definitely not the same as getting a gender studies degree. One of them is BS, the other is a great career that can take you somewhere. You decide which one it is. But now let's jump into the cons that I experienced from going to college. Number one, and the biggest con, and that is the opportunity cost of going to college. I spent 4 years of time and energy into something that I knew I did not want to do in the long run. Again, I just did it because I thought it was safe and it was the right thing to do. And they do say that if you don't want to do something forever, don't do it for one day. A lot of times we do things out of necessity, whether that is getting a second job or working a job we hate just so we can pay the bills. If that is temporary, that's totally fine. But bigger picture, I always knew that I should aim for the things and work on the things that I actually want to do. Now, I'm definitely not talking about the cliche, follow your passion, and if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I think this is not true. I think at the end of the day, anything you do, even if you enjoy doing, to some extent becomes work. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing the things that you see yourself doing in the long run that would get you the results you want. Number two is that it delayed my maturity. What I did back then was I went to class, came back home, went on the computer and started playing. Whether it's CSGO, Dota 2, I was playing games and studying. That's all I did. For the longest time, I made the excuse that I cannot work, I don't have time to work because I'm a student and I have a lot of studying to do while I had thousands of hours of video games under my belt. So even though this is definitely on me and not due to college, I thought back then that university did that to me, but turns out it was purely me. And the main issue here is that some people go to school and then go to graduate school in order to avoid facing real life and going into the real world. I personally saw people doing it. I even debated doing it myself because if I buy myself another year or two of grad school, I probably don't have to face myself in the real world and go out there, find a job, and really do what I have to do. But I know that I personally have done that, and I always had an excuse for why my magic career wasn't blowing up, because I was a student and I'm busy with other things. Even after I graduated and got a job in engineering, I always blamed my YouTube not doing well because I had a job. So we always blame outside circumstances, but we never look inwards and say, well, yeah, that's on me. I know this might hurt some people, but if you really look deep down and ask yourself why you're going to grad school, if the reason is, I don't know, this is just the way it's supposed to be, then you might want to ask yourself again why you're really doing this. And you might want to ask yourself if you're just doing this to avoid going outside into the real world. Number three is that I didn't give anything 100%. I always had the mindset that I'm in school, once I get out, I could do this. I'm at work, once I quit, I could do this. But the actual truth is I was just blaming outside circumstances for my failures or for not being where I actually want to be. I'm not getting gigs as a magician because I was in school. But the truth is I did have time to play video games and not go out and look for people who want to hire me, do free shows here, give out business cards there. I just decided to blame outside circumstances. Number four is that I don't use 99% of what I learned. I studied hard, I graduated with a great GPA, but most of what I learned was utter bullshit. Even when I worked 2 different jobs in engineering, I did not use 99% of what I learned. So it's safe to say that to me, it was a total waste of time, minus a few intangible skills or soft skills or people skills that I learned throughout. The material that I actually learned didn't do me any good. Number 5, and probably one of the biggest ones, and that is that school makes you afraid of failure. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm excited. High school, college, university, any type of traditional education, for the most part, demonizes failure. There's only one path to the correct answer, and there's only one correct answer. Thinking outside the box most of the time leads to you getting lower grades. At least this was my personal experience throughout my journey. But guess what? You will fail. You're gonna have to fail. If you wanna try something new, you're gonna fail enough times until you do it so much that you don't suck anymore, and then you don't fail anymore. And then you're gonna face new challenges, you're gonna take on them, and then you are gonna fail most likely. Then if you stop after you fail, if you get a D on your exam and that's it, you lift your hands up and you surrender, you're not gonna get anywhere. Now school pushes you to not fail, pushes you to be afraid of failure. School always tells you that you need to study very hard before you try, because if you fail, it's a no-no. You're gonna fail in real life. This really puts you in a box. It removes your creativity. It makes you afraid of taking on new things because you haven't prepared enough. So you end up preparing so much for this new business that you want to start and thinking of the all possible ways this can fail and not thinking of just doing the work and figuring it out along the way. So in school, if you fail, you're gonna delay your graduation and you're gonna end up paying more money because you're gonna have to do another semester and another one until you pass. And also failing an exam can really hit your self-esteem pretty hard. And on the other hand, passing exams and graduating can give you an inflated self-esteem and thinking that you're very smart and you're gonna kill it in the real world. And once you go out to the real world, you get slapped in the face, and that's how it is. So what's the point of all this? Should you go to college? Should you not? It really depends. Personally, if I had to go back, I would not go to college for engineering. If I wanted to go, I would decide of one of the three. And that is medicine, law, or what else? That's it. I would say it's only medicine or law. And I'm not saying engineering is bad. It's just something that I wouldn't want to do. If I know some of my younger relatives who want to go to college for one of these three, then I would say go for it, as long as this is what you want to do. But would I go for a business degree? No. Would I go for a marketing degree? Definitely not. We can learn all these online already and for a fraction of the price, and we can start working even way quicker. So I wouldn't go again. But if you're someone who wants to go to that path, then please go for it. As long as you're smart about it and you don't put yourself in $100,000 worth of debt, then you should be good. I would rather have you work for 2 years, save that money for the tuition if that's really what you want to do, and go for it. But who am I to tell you? I'm just some guy on the internet, but this was my experience with college. I hope this video helped you. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.